So I want to sketch y is equal to tan x plus 60. Okay. So since I've already touched that way of the shortcuts and the like, and it was not getting to the end, need more things to be said. Let's just concentrate on the period, which is now 180 over b, which is equal to 180 in this case, over 1, which is 180, and then get a scale where you divide the period by 2 this time around. So 180 by 2, giving us 90. And then we want to sketch. Remember, we are guided that we must sketch between negative 180 and positive 180. So we have a shift x plus 60 is equal to 0. The one called the horizontal shift. So x is equal to negative 60. So you notice that what happens normally here is that instead of starting from 0 to add the scale, we go to the shift, subtract it, or I mean add it to 0. So it is negative 60. And then that's why now we come back and add the scale. So negative 60 plus 90, we get 30. Okay. So whatever was supposed to happen at 90 is happening at 30. And then from 30, we add 90, we'll have, so from 30, we add 90, we'll have 120. And then 120, we add 90, we'll go beyond 180. So we'll have to end at 180. So negative 60 minus 90, again, we'll get to negative 120. So negative 60 minus, no, negative 60 minus 90. This will give us negative 150. So we'll get negative 150. Then negative 150 minus 90 will go beyond negative 180. So we just end at negative 180. Okay. So now let's see what we get. Suppose we don't know anything about tan. So I want to calculate the values of tan. So we'll say y is equal to, let's start from 0. Y is equal to tan, when x is 0, we'll get 0 plus 60, which is the 60. But tan 60, if I was to use a triangle, so I can also expose you to the triangle. If I use a triangle where this is 90, that is 30, this is 60, and this is 2, this is 1, that is root 3. So to get tan 60, tan is opposite of adjacent. So opposite is root 3 over adjacent, opposite over adjacent, which is 1. So I'll just get root 3 there. So we have a root 3. And a root 3 is bigger than 1. So we have a root 3 at there at 0. So let's see what we get at 30. So when y is tan 30 plus 60, we are getting tan 90. What is tan 90? Tan 90 is sin 90 over cos 90. But cos 90 is 0, as tan 90 is 1. So at 30, we have undefined. So we make it an asymptote. since we are getting 1/0, which is undefined, so we put a line to indicate that it's undefined there. And then let's move now to 120. So y is equal to tan 120 plus 60. That is tan 180. Tan 180 is sine 180 over cos 180. Sine 180 is 0 as cos 180 is -1. So we get 0. So we have a 0 at 120. And then y is equal to tan 180 plus 60. So at 180, we'll get at 180 plus 60. That is tan 240. Yes, so tan 240 is sine 240 over cos 240. Now sine 240, remember 240 is in the third quadrant, where we subtract 240 minus 80, I mean minus 180 to get 60 in this case. So when we get sine 60, which is √3/2, because it is sine, we give it a negative sign in that quadrant, and then for cos 60, we get half, give it a negative sign as well. When we solve, we'll get positive √3. So we get positive √3 there. So I have a point. So meaning that if we added 120 plus 90, would have gone to another asymptote this side, but now it is beyond the interval. So we have nothing to say at that point. So now we come to the left and look for y. What happens at -60? So we have tan -60 plus 60, giving us tan 0. Now tan 0 is sine 0 over cos 0, which is equal to 0 because cos 0 is 1 and sine 0 is 0. So we're getting 0 there. So we have a 0 at that point. Y is equal to tan -150 plus 60. This is tan -90. So what is tan -90? This is the same as sine -90 over cos -90. But sine takes away the negative and cos squares the negative. So we have sine 90 is 1 as cos 90 is 0. So undefined. So we bring up a dotted line, giving us an asymptote. So this guy is acting as an asymptote again. So let's try now the last number remaining. Y is tan -180 plus 60, giving us tan -120. This is sine, so negative sine 120 over cos 120. 120 is the same as for 60, so we get negative √3 over 2 over cos 120, that is cos 60, which is half. So we are dealing with negative root 3. So we have a negative root 3. So we place it here as a point, and then sketch now the graph of tan. So as you can see, it's coming. It will cut there. Now this guy must be well drawn because it must cut this piece here. So let me start it from down. So it will go this way, goes that way, and go up there. And then the other side, we are getting negative root 3. Okay, first let me go to the right. So to the right, it's coming from down, hit there. It must continue going that side. So to just hit there, it can't go beyond 180. So now here, at negative 180, this is supposed to be in the positive side, because the other 0 is supposed to be somewhere here and not in between. This was supposed to give us a positive number. So let's recheck. Hello?
Yeah, I have something to say, sir. You said the negative 120, that side, then it will give us negative root 3 over 2, then of course it will be a positive 1. But in the second quadrant.
You're right. So cos in the second quadrant is negative, so that we get a positive value there. Okay, good. So it's supposed to be, so that's why the graph has sure to come out there. So it's supposed to be positive root 3. So that in that case, the graph is still coming, from this way. So because it can't go beyond 180, so we'll just come and hit there and leave our graph like that, because of the restricted interval. If the interval was very free, we could have gone beyond, and then we could see how we are hitting into the asymptotes. The thing here is that these graphs will never touch the asymptote. So as you get closer to the red lines, it will just be going down. So unless we have questions, otherwise we'll be ending this class based on this one. Now, yes?
So sorry for taking you back. I didn't get the part where you were explaining on sine 240 over cos 240.
Sine 240 over cos 240. So we have sine 240 over cos 240. Where does 240 lie? 240 lies in the third quadrant. So we're saying this whole thing here is 240. So if you want to get an angle that is in the third quadrant, you use easy reference angle by saying whatever lies here, you say that 240 thing minus 180. So we'd get 60 there. So that we deal with sine 60 over cos 60. But due to the nature of the quadrant, sine is negative there. So we put a negative before we evaluate. Cos is negative in that quadrant. We put a negative before we get what they are. But sine 60 is what? It's root 3 over 2. And cos 60 is negative, is half. So the negatives have been found there before we evaluate the 60s. And then that's how it turned out to be positive root 3, because the 2's will cancel as the negatives cancel.
Thank you, sir.
All right. So now what is happening is that the tutorials are moving a bit slow, but then we do some presentation to prepare you for the tutorials. So if for those who managed to, I saw some of you managed to subscribe to this. This is my channel. So what I did is in preparation for the coming tutorial sheet, which is tutorial sheet 9 after 8, I've done the presentations of the methods of differentiations. That is for calculus, where you do first principle, quotient rule, product rule, power rule, implicit, and chain rule. So if you have time, you watch that. By the time we do that tutorial sheet, it will be easy for you now to understand how we are doing the actual questions there. So for those who have time and you understand.
So yes, it's not so clear. Like we are failing to see. Try to put the camera on a good position when you are presenting those, because we have subscribed to the channel, but we are not able to see some things.
Eh? Okay, because like this video, I'm going to post it like that. So now how does it appear when it is like this?
The way it is, it's just so clear.
Just okay now.
We are able to see.
Okay. Okay, so we end here for today.
Okay, good day, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
All right, guys.